Hey, Ian, thank you for joining us again. I guess just you haven't had a huge amount of time to reflect after that, I know, but in light of that defeat, how would you sum up the season as a whole?
Look, it's not nice finishing, with a loss. I think if I spoke about tonight, I'm not sure what you picked up from the last media conference, but it's probably the second test in a row that we haven't started very well, and we've let a team impose themselves on us. And but what I really liked about tonight, it was a red hot environment, probably an environment that is as hostile and as parochial as I've ever heard. The French were very up for this test. We fed it with a couple of tries early, but the way we came back in that third quarter and really started to play the game that we wanted to play against them, and to get quite confrontational and direct, and to get ourselves back with a chance was something that was pleasing. But weren't clinical enough. Yellow card, intercept try, and that hurt at the end. But how do I sum up the season? Well, I said before, it's probably a year that some countries have played not enough rugby because of COVID. Some have played too much. And, I look at our year, we played 15 test matches. I look at Aussie and South Africa, who are similar to us, played 14, respectively. I think they've lost 7 and 5 tests, and we've lost 3. And so when I put it into context and I look at the growth in a bigger squad, overall, I think we're making some really good progress. But the last 2 weeks have certainly hurt and give us plenty of motivation for next year.
You touched on there, I guess, some things that have come to light that have been exposed, teams imposing themselves. I think, the rush defence becomes an issue, the physicality, things like that. Is that for you more a matter of, like you say, fatigue over a long season, a wider squad playing, or is this teams having figured the All Blacks out?
Oh, look, I really believe that it's a hard year to sort of say that there's one thing that teams have sorted us out. I think when we played South Africa early on, we've went toe to toe with them in 2 classic test matches. We imposed ourselves on them in the first half. So through the year, we've done some really nice things against teams. I think even tonight in the third quarter, again, we showed it was about us attacking them, and I thought we got them quite flustered at that point. So, we can do it. We've just got to do it for more prolonged spells. And, tonight was, disappointing because, for example, they got 2 line-out drive tries from us, and we've been very good in that space all year. But to concede 2 tries in that sort of area was frustrating, and that's 14 points against a team that's nothing really to do with line out or line speed or anything. It's just to do with us executing our roles better. So overall, there's enough to keep us working over the summer.
And just lastly from me, I guess there's always a certain level of pressure that goes with your position going into the summer off the back of consecutive defeats. Are you feeling that even more in your role?
No. Like I just said, I think when you look at the overall year and you look at what we've achieved, I think when you look at the context of that and the growth, then I think there's been quite a significant growth from last year. We've got a whole bunch of players that a number of them have come up here for the first time, haven't been up here for 3 years and experienced that. And collectively, I think there's some, I really believe in the group that we're doing, that we've got at the moment.
I suppose as you look back at the year, do you think you've made steps forward from where you started, perhaps, with the first Tongan test, or do you think it's been a year where you've maybe stepped back as a team?
Well, I think I've already answered that, Elliot. I basically said that I felt that, if you look at, we've won 12 out of 15 test matches. We've been away for 3 months. We've played 2 lots of 5 tests in a row consecutively. We've done a whole lot of things that the All Blacks haven't had to do before. And I think before you got to the last 2 tests, I was delighted with the progress. But we've had a couple of good lessons in the last 2 tests, and there's no doubt there's a little bit of mental fatigue and the end of a long season and that. And there's also no doubt we struck two teams that played good rugby against us. So, our job is not to, but when we reflect on the overall year, yeah, I'm very satisfied with my progress. I've got no doubt about that.
Just finally from me, can you just paint how tough the tour has been in terms of being in a bubble and all that sort of thing over the last 10 weeks or so?
Well, it's actually 12 weeks, and yes, we do count. And look, it's been an incredible experience. And I said to the boys, there's in the shed afterwards, I think when you look at if you compare it to other teams around the world, I know we get judged heavily on wins and losses, and that's the way it should be. But there's a lot of good teams that have lost more than us in a year like this, and but I'm incredibly proud of the men. I think they've dealt with the situation incredibly well. It's been tough on families. The support from our families behind the scenes has been huge, and it's been a great motivator for the team. But it certainly has been a long time with a lot of consecutive test matches. It has stretched us, and here's hoping that we don't have another year quite like this and we can go into a normal campaign. But overall, really proud of the effort.
Commiserations, Foz, but just talking about some of those pressures off the field, how innovative have the backroom boys had to be to keep the team fresh and concentrating on the job at hand?
Well, I think it's been a collective effort, Linda. Like, I don't think it's management inspiring the players or the way around. I think everyone's been working at it together, and it's there's no doubt we've had a lot of sort of honest conversations in this group, about how the groups are feeling and where the pressure points are and how we switch on and switch off over a very long period. And I think largely we've done a great job of that. I think we've had to have about 5 All Black captains this year who've started test matches. We've had a number of players missing through babies and family reasons because of travel and quarantine. It's been an incredibly unique year, but I think the work from the group, and I think it's management and players and leaders together, is that we've dealt with everything, I think, incredibly well, and we're an incredibly disappointed group right now because we felt like all the good stuff that we'd done, it would have been nice to finish strong, and we didn't get the results we wanted in the last 2 weeks, and that hurts. But it doesn't take away from the fact that as an All Black team, I think they've done an amazing job.
Reflecting on the season overall and how you came into the season and what you wanted to achieve, how much do you feel is left undone or causing you some concern?
Oh, look, there's definitely, as a head coach, we always go away, particularly when the last game of the year is a loss. It always hurts. But when I reflect on the fact that we left New Zealand shores, effectively had a squad of about 39 with COVID and with all the restrictions on travel. And so we had to have a bigger group to go through this sort of consecutive test type program, which we haven't had before, and to keep blooding new people, new combinations, but to really go through a season that we played some great rugby for large parts of it. I think we've made great progress. We've got good depth. But we certainly, there's no denying the fact that the last 2 weeks we haven't started well in 2 test matches in a row for the first 30 minutes, and we need to figure that out a little bit. And we certainly showed character. We show we can respond as the game unfolds, but there's no denying that we didn't start either the last 2 tests well.
Give us an idea of what was said in the huddle in the changing rooms after that game, either from you, from Sam. What was the overall emotion like from the guys?
I think an overall emotion is it's always tough after our last game, and you know, we put everything out on the line. We wanted the result, and we didn't get it. So there's a lot of disappointment. There's you know, this team is full of men who are highly motivated, who want to do everything they can for the black jersey. And when we don't get the result we want, it hurts, and that's the way it should be. But part of the reflection is actually putting the context around this year. And in the huddle, we spoke about the fact that when you compare this team at the start, the amount of All Blacks we've been able to get on the park to build combinations, to build depth, when you look at our record versus a lot of other countries in 2021, then we need to hold our head up high. But the good thing is that it's still there's a bit of hurt there. So I think that's going to be great motivation for us going forward.